have children of different ages living at home, and do you find yourself struggling to keep them all entertained and being able to just sit down and play? Well, watch this video because I'm going to be helping you find ways to play with your siblings, particularly of different ages, rather than spending all your time refereeing and sorting out those arguments. So watch this video for lots and lots of really simple tips that you can use at home. Hi, I'm Claire. I'm an early years specialist and welcome to this video. I am here to help you play with your babies and young children at home to support their learning and development. And we do it all through really simple tips and tricks and very, very simple play activities. Make sure you subscribe to this channel because I share videos every Thursday and I think you would find them helpful. Okay, so let's get stuck in because I know this is a really common question with all the members of my community. I'm often getting asked about playing and entertaining children of different ages at home, and it can be really, really tricky. And the reason for that is their ages basically plays a huge part in it. Now note that I'm talking about playing with siblings, entertaining siblings, and I'm not saying about getting siblings to play together. And there's a reason why I'm doing that, because I think before we start it's really important that we get our expectations of our children quite clear in our heads. I think we all have that rosy picture of our children being very loving to each other and all kisses and cuddles and sharing and all those lovely things, and we can but hope and dream. However, I'm not here to promise any miracles, but I am here to help. And something that we need to think about, particularly when we're encouraging our children of different ages to play, is that playing together is quite a skill. And I don't know if you've noticed, if you've ever gone to a play group or had a play date at your house with a young child, that more often than not, yes, the children are friends, but at the end of the day, they end up playing side by side rather than together. And that's because playing together takes a lot of socialising and social skills. And there's a lot of skills there that they need to develop about negotiating, sharing, listening to each other and all those sorts of things. But at a young age, a child is not at that stage. And younger children, it sounds awful to say it, but they're very self-centred. At that stage, when children are young, it's about them. They are the centre of the world and they are the most important thing. And it goes back to survival of the fittest, basically. They have got to look after number one. And their world is very much around them. And that's where all those tantrum things stem from. It's about them and their needs. So that's why quite often we find with younger children that we expect them to just come together and play together. And they may do that. They may be bouts of that. But not all the time, because like I said, it's quite an advanced skill. So we've just got to have our expectations at the right place. Okay, so that's the first tip really, is just to think about particularly the ages and just be aware that your youngest child probably won't be at the age or the maturity to be able to play in those socialising skills. I invite you to comment below with the ages of your children and what the different age gaps are, because it'd be really interesting, and I bet there's lots of you watching at home that are all in a similar boat, so it's nice to feel like you're not alone. Okay, let's move on to our next one now. A point that I always suggest to our community members is about giving your eldest some responsibility, because at the end of the day our children want to please us, don't they? And they love to feel like they are doing something that's helpful, and giving your child, your eldest, a bit of responsibility can work really well. And that could be whether it's a bit of one-on-one time and asking them or challenge them even. Kids love a challenge. Giving them a challenge of helping to create an activity or create something for the youngest child to play with. So particularly if you have a baby or a young toddler at home, you might ask your eldest to help get involved with setting up some sort of sensory box, treasure basket, story box, something like that, that your eldest can take responsibility for. Go and look around the house, look for those items and prepare it and put it together. And it also means that then when the youngest is ready to play, maybe they've woken up from their nap or something, that your eldest is really excited to see how they play with it and will take on that sort of sense of responsibility and almost a very caring role, and we'll want to watch the youngest play with it and see how they get on. And at this point, don't forget to pile on the praise for your eldest as well, for being so mature, so helpful to you, and they will just beam. They will absolutely love it. So that's a really useful tip. Okay, the next thing I would always suggest is giving your child their own space. It's really important, no matter how many children you have, that they have that sense of ownership in their own space. So what I would recommend is having one of these. Having something that they can set up their play that they know is their space. So whether this is just an IKEA tray, about £1, I think, if that, and I would have one of these each for the children. Even better, my absolute favourite is an under the bed storage box, because you can do all sorts with these. They're so versatile. But by having play activities, setting something up inside these, it gives your child very visual boundaries for keeping that activity sort of enclosed, and it's theirs, and they can own it and they can take responsibility for it. And it also gives the other ones clues as well about not to invade their space, because that can often lead to arguments, tantrums, and children getting upset when things get destroyed and things. So these are really great. You can pick them up, move them around and do whatever. Now, it doesn't mean, I'm not saying that you have to buy 2 or 3 or 4 of everything. Definitely not saying that. Just something that provides a visual space, some sort of tray or a box that your child knows that their play is going to be set up in. And creating something in that space. Doesn't matter what you put in it. It might be different activities to suit the age and ability or the interests of your child. But it's great them having their own little area. So don't feel like you need to go out and buy multiples of all the different toys and things that you've got. But just having something, a tray or a box, can be really, really useful. And at this point, I'd like to invite you to head on over to the playHOORAY website, where there are a few things for you actually. There's a download that I've released that has play ideas for all the different ages of children, all the way up to 10, 11-year-olds in year 6 at school. And also, while you're there, if you pop in your email address, you will also get a copy of my free ebook, a 15-page guide for making your home playful. Without needing to buy any more toys, using simple tips and tricks just like this. So head on over after this video, and I'm sure you will be able to make the most of those as well. All right, okay, and then finally, let's move on to our last one, is just to think about, like I was saying, about not needing to buy 2 of everything, because actually children need to learn to share. Now, sharing is a very tricky skill, as we all know. And let's be honest, you know, if you, I don't know, you've gone to the seaside, you've got a lovely tray of nice hot chips, and someone came along and said, can I have them? We'd struggle, wouldn't we? Let's be honest, I would struggle to share. Or chocolate bar, there we go. Chocolate bar, you may struggle to share. Now, as adults, we share because we know it's socially what we're meant to do. But it still hurts. And deep down, it's not really what you want to do, is it? And it's the same with children. But at this age, at a younger age, they are willing to stand their ground, and they are not yet ready to share. And it can be really tricky and very difficult, particularly with multiple children. And so at this point, I would introduce lots of practice of sharing and taking turns. Taking turns can be a very simple way of explaining to a child that, okay, after this one's go, after child 1 number go, it's your go. And a way of helping them to wait is having some sort of sun timer, kitchen timer, timer on your phone, something like that, something very visual that your child can see, when this timer's gone, it is my go. And this is actually something that a lot of childcare settings, nursery schools use as well. So children will probably be familiar, if they are going to some sort of childcare, they will be familiar with this sort of way of taking control of taking in turns and sharing. And it can be really, really powerful because it's so visual, they can see. And it's really important as well that once that sand does go to the bottom, or the timer does go off, that they do actually swap over. And so that's really important, particularly with sharing resources, because like, we don't want to be going out and buying more. We've got enough already. You don't need multiples of the same thing. And it's a really important skill that children learn, to be able to share their toys with their siblings as well as others for them when they do start school. And of course, they do have to learn to be able to share things in the school setting. So it's just the same. All right. So I'm going to end there then, guys. I hope those tips have been useful, because I know it can be really tricky having multiple children of different ages, but just keep those things in mind and they should hopefully help. There's also a blog post about siblings play over on the playHOORAY website if you want to read a little bit more, and don't forget there's those freebies when you're there that you can sign up for too. All right, it's been lovely to have you here. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to come and find me over on social media, good old Instagram and Facebook. I'm there where I share daily activities, ideas, tips, tricks, all that sort of stuff. Everything to do with play. I hope that's helped. Good luck and happy playing. Bye.